How do we build long-lasting discipline? On August 18, 2025, Alex Hormozy broke the world record for non-fiction book sales. In less than 24 hours, he sold nearly 3 million copies. To put that in perspective, the previous record holder was Prince Harry, with about just half of that number. When people look at this kind of success, they often focus on the outcomes. The $105 million of sales, the global attention, or the record-breaking moment. But what most people tend to forget is that behind this overnight success were 13 years of daily discipline work. 13 years of showing up every single day when no one was watching. 13 years of consistent discipline. But what does discipline actually mean? Do we just have it? Do we build it? And if yes, how? You see, discipline is often misunderstood. We imagine it's only for elite athletes, overachievers, or people with some kind of special talent. We imagine it's something that some have and some don't. But here is the truth. Discipline is a skill that can be learned by anyone. The reason why I'm saying that is before becoming a TEDx speaker, a top student, or a certified content creator, I'm just a French student from Toulouse. I don't have anything special. I just came from a scientific and engineering background, and I was trained to see the world as systems, processes, and repeatable patterns. That's why I decided to reverse engineering my own life and build a system to create long-lasting discipline. So tonight, I don't only want to share with you a new idea and a new approach on how discipline works, but how you can create your own system to your own life. Let's start with this. Discipline is not what you think it is. It's not about waking up at 5 a.m. to take a cold shower. It's not about working endless hours in the library. It's not about stopping a bad habit in one day. And it's not about being rigid or stoic. The problem with this cliché is that it makes discipline look like punishment. But discipline is not about fighting against yourself, but for yourself. That's why discipline without alignment is just self-punishment. Think about it for a second. If I ask you right now to eat rice, chicken, and broccoli for the next 6 months, or if I ask you to study at least 4 hours every single day, you would probably say, no way, that's not me. And you'll be right. Because if it doesn't feel like you, it will always feel forced. But think about a bodybuilder or a top student. It's not a torture for them, and it doesn't feel like punishment. It's part of who they are. When your action aligns with your identity, every choice, even the small ones, becomes a conscious decision to move toward the person you want to become. And that's what building long-lasting discipline is all about. It's about living a life where each action is no longer just something you do, but a reflection of who you are. In other words, discipline makes the way you do the little things the way you do all the things. But here is the problem. Understanding discipline and building it are two very different things. To build long-lasting discipline, you need a structure. You need a framework, a sustainable system that helps you to return to your commitment, no matter how many times you fail. That's why I decided to create the core system. The core system is a 4-step process designed to help you building discipline, align with who you are and who you want to become. So, the first step of any meaningful achievement is to create more clarity. The reason is simple. You can't achieve what you haven't defined. Creating clarity means transforming an idea into a concrete goal. And one of the ways to do this is by defining a SMART goal. A SMART goal is a specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-defined goal. Specific means your goal must be precise. Measurable means you can track your progress. Achievable means the goal must be a challenge, but still realistic with your actual resources. Relevant means the goal must matter to you. If your objective is not aligned with your value, you won't stick to it. And time-defined, because a goal without a deadline is just a wish. The clearer the goal, the easier is it to see the path forward. Once your goal is clear, the next step is to break it down into actionable steps. The easiest way to do it is by thinking on 3 levels. Macro goal, which is your SMART goal. Micro goal, which are key checkpoints or milestones. And nano steps, the smallest possible action you can take to achieve your goal. This breakdown gives you clarity and direction. But when you're making a plan, please remember the word KISS. Keep it simple and stupid. Because a plan is not meant to control every second of your life. It's a framework, not a prison. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need one clear enough to get you moving. Once your goal is clear and broken down, that's where the real work begins. Because discipline doesn't come from doing something once or twice. It comes from repetition, from showing up again and again and again until it becomes part of you. So here is how it works. Step 1, you secure daily non-negotiable. Most people fail at building habits because they leave them to chance. If you don't protect your time, life will take it away. Non-negotiable are protecting moments you schedule for yourself in your calendar, like a very, very important appointment, where you create a focus zone to work actively on your goal. Non-negotiable are not meant to perform. They are 5, 15, or 30 minutes just to create a strong foundation of commitment. Step 2, you build momentum. In the 17th century, Isaac Newton demonstrated his first law of motion. An object at rest tends to stay at rest, and an object in motion tends to stay in motion unless something stops it. He called this property momentum. But who says this property only applies to physics? When you show up consistently, each action compounds with the previous one and makes showing up again easier. That's how you're creating momentum in real life, by showing up again and again and again. Step 3, you build new behaviors. Because over time, repetition does something deeper. It rewards you. In 2009, health psychologist Philippa Laley showed that it takes, on average, 66 days to build a new habit. Do you remember the first time you learned how to drive? And how overwhelming it was to look at the road, the mirrors, change the gear, find the right pedals, and all of these things having one of your parents on the side yelling at you to slow down. But what happened over time? It just became automatic. You don't even think about it anymore. Or at least I hope so. That's the power of repetition. It doesn't just keep you in motion. It transforms your effort into habits and make them feel natural. The 4th step is to generate data. If your goal is measurable, each action is a piece of data you can use to adjust, improve, and get better. Without data, you're guessing what should be the next move. With it, you're acting conscientiously toward a specific outcome. In other words, you are reverse engineering how discipline works. So the logic is simple. Non-negotiable creates repetition. Repetition builds momentum. Momentum builds habits. Habits generates data. And data prepare you to improve. That's how long-lasting discipline is really built. Not in one big moment of motivation, but through a process where the smallest and repeated steps are compounding over time. If you think about how engineering and science work, when you create a system, you don't just build it and hope it works forever. You test, you measure, you adjust. The same applies to discipline. To evaluate your action, you must track your progress. And the good news is, you don't need fancy tools to do it. A simple journal or spreadsheet is more than enough. Actually, it doesn't really matter how you do it. But what truly matters is what you put inside. And it can be as simple as 3 checkpoints: a daily log, a weekly reset, and a monthly audit. The daily log is the moment where, at the end of the day, you take 5 minutes to reflect on it. You ask to yourself a simple question: did I show up today? Did I do my non-negotiable? It doesn't have to be complicated, just a yes or no question or a quick note just to make sure that you were doing what you were supposed to do. The weekly reset takes a little bit of time. At the end of the week, you take 30 minutes to zoom out. You look at what worked, what didn't, and what you want to adjust. The goal here is not to judge yourself, but to learn from your actions. And finally, the monthly audit is the moment where once a month, you zoom out further. You take a big picture of your life and you ask yourself a simple question. Am I getting closer to my goal, or am I just busy? These big picture checkpoints prevent you from running in circles or going in the wrong direction. Now, you might think, what if it's not working? What if I'm wrong? Well, if something is not working, don't throw away the whole plan. Like in any scientific experiment, you change one variable at a time and see if it works better. Maybe it's your environment, the distraction, or simply just the moment of the day you're doing your non-negotiable. For some people, waking up early makes focus easier. For others, working late feels more natural. The key here is to adjust one thing, then keep testing, because that's the only way you can know what really works for you. So if I had to leave you today with one thing, just one idea, it's this. Discipline doesn't come from one big moment of motivation, but through a process. That's what the core system gives you. Clarity helps you to see your goal. Organization breaks it down into actionable steps. Repetition makes it part of you. And evaluation keeps you on track. Discipline is not a talent. It's not a gift. It's a skill. And like any skill, you can learn it, you can train it, and you can improve it. So don't just chase discipline as an idea. Use the core system, build it step by step, and make it yours. Because when you do, you're not just creating habits. You're creating the foundation of the life you're meant to live. Thank you.